right back to the silliness, because what else would we be doing? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News Second Edition. I am your host, and welcome to the Gout Report. Ladies and gentlemen, strap in. I want to take you guys back to 2017. Matter of fact, I want to take you back to February 23rd of 2017. Oh boy, for any of you guys who knew what was going on YouTube at that time, you know that PewDiePie ain't made a noobsty, and Adpocalypse was a thing, and everybody was acting like their lives were going to end, and Darksydephil had to get himself a piece of it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the King of Hate Vlogs. Huge update, Machinima discovery, and going to bat for me. Now, the original video, he actually has a video that's before this. I believe I've already done it. If I haven't, ripping pepperoni, and then it'll just come in later on down the line. More than likely, panic video, ad revenue is shrinking. Please help, please support, you know, just bitch complaining as usual. But we're gonna go, like I said, I think I've done that video already. If I haven't, my apologies, and we'll go over it at a later time and date. Maybe I have it on the back burner for a reason. Because I'm a professional. I'm not a professional. Any case, we're gonna go over this. We'll see what for some of you, I should say, this will be a bit of a refresher to give you guys an idea of what Phil was doing back in 2017. For some of you, you may have never even heard this. You know, some of you may have never even seen some of this. So this should be pretty good, even though I'm confident there's a Snortbucks video out there on this. But I could be wrong, because this predates me by, I started making videos in like August, September of 2017. So I'd like to think there's a Snortbucks video out there on this, but who could say? In any case, though, funny stuff all around. Let's go ahead and get into it. There's definitely a Tevin video. Praise be. There's definitely an almighty Tevin video out on this, I'm sure. Or he's at least mentioned it. But let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you that raw bacon and whatnot. And it should be fun as we keep things going. And that's the thing, right? Right? Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you guys in just a second. The gout and my ad revenue. No.
Okay, what's up everyone? DSP here, and welcome to another vlog, a big update in regards to yesterday's video that I put out right here on the King of Hate Vlogs. Over 7,000 people already checked it out. Thank you for that. I know a lot of people are talking about this because they're worried. They're like, Phil, that vlog you made, you know, this sucks. Ad revenue plummeting into the toilet for you, and no explanation, makes no sense whatsoever. Logically, in February, ad revenue goes up on YouTube, yet for you it went down. How does this make any sense? And, you know, people are worried. I want to say thank you to those who already have been contacting me. I'll be honest here. I haven't had a chance. I got... Oh my God.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because most of those emails and whatnot went into a spam folder. Most of them were automatic deletes. It doesn't really matter. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the King of Hate Vlogs. Huge update, Machinima discovery and going to bat for me. This is from February 23rd of 2017. The link to the raw gouty bacon is down in the description. Oh boy. Real quick, I should say. This isn't, don't worry, this won't be necessarily my TED Talk, but at the end of the day, he made a pretty large panic about something that we don't even know if it was even truthful. Keep in mind, in the end of 2016, because he had money trouble for a long time, right? In 2016, the end of 2016, actually, he had already gone on his hoof and piggy knees back to Twitch, right? Went ahead, reactivated his account, or asked for them to reactivate it, which they did. And he was already back over there streaming. Now, the money is starting to get low on YouTube, right? Which he was depending on that money. And now he's going to have to really put in some actual work. He's really going to have to do something now. He's not going to be able to just stream everything on Twitch and get his little subs, You know what I mean? Get his subs, and then come over to YouTube and chop it all up and just throw it up there for ad revenue, which was the scheme in the first place. Now he's actually gonna have to do shit, and he went ahead and put out the tarred fucking signal and tried to get people to come in and give him money. I'm sure to Teespring, to Patreon, donate to. I don't know if they could donate to him directly. Through Twitch, I should say. They definitely could have just gone ahead and gone to his PayPal and just given him money. They've been doing that for years. That's what this all really comes down to. It was basically telling YouTube, you guys need to step up even more. And this is how you guys can step up. Go to Patreon, buy something from my Teespring. I don't know if he was shilling, his words, not mine. I don't know if he was shilling OneUpBox or Loot Crate or any of that stuff around that time. I feel like he was, but don't hold me to that. Whatever it takes to give him more extra ad revenue. I mean, Jesus Christ. Right up here, Patreon link right here. Patreon.com/Darksydephil. Anyway, so let's get into it.
I've got a good dozen emails or more from people trying to help out, giving me advice. People pledged to Patreon today. Thank you if you pledged to my Patreon. You know, people basically trying to help me out here because who knows what's going to happen if I'm going to be able to pay my bills come from April if this ad revenue issue sticks, okay? So if you want the full skinny on that, watch the video I put up here yesterday. I'm not going to go into full detail about it. What I'm here to do is to give everyone an update because I heard back from Machinima today. Huge positive news. And boy, did I need it, because let me tell you, here I am today. I'm streaming Neo, the end of Neo. I do the final mission, which unlocks 3 post-game missions. I'm like, oh, this. So
this is right around the time of the Leanna is a Detractor video, which it's a Mr. Huff Stuff video, great video, where Leanna basically goes in there and digs into Phil for like 3 fucking minutes and shit. It's fucking hilarious. It might be 5 minutes actually, 3 to 5 minutes. It's pretty funny, and so on and so forth. So that's around this particular period of time. But on top of that, it's funny how he did all this fear mongering the day before, right? How he could lose everything, he could lose his house, and oh, the sky is falling. And then the next day, Machinima comes through and is like, oh, we have positive news for you, which is the ebb and flow for Phil. Go ahead, get everybody all riled up, right? Because Phil's not completely stupid. He understands what his situation is, but he's always looking at trying to take advantage of people, right? And fearmonger, because that's all he's good at, because he's a negative piece of shit and he can't do anything else. So go ahead and rile all these tards up and think that everything's going to go away and that he's going to be doomed if they don't help. They all help, and then the next day, oh, everything's not so bad now, guys. It's consistent. It's constant and consistent manipulation, right? The whole Phil's relationship with his fan base is completely and totally based on lies. It always has been. It always has been. And when he does tell the truth, he does it inadvertently. He doesn't mean to. It's done by accident. You know what I mean? And that's why he doesn't mind lying the way he does, as consistently as he does. 1, he don't respect these people. But 2, he throws so much bullshit at them in such a short amount of time that he does, and he believes they're all, you know, absolutely fucking idiots, right? He doesn't expect any of it to stick. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's all about manipulating them in that moment, get what he can, and discard the lie for something new. And if he ever gets called out for it, I never said that. Prove that. Go back and tell me where the video is or what stream that I said that on. You can't find the streams have been deleted. So unless you're going through Dark Dave, and Dark Dave Mirrors wasn't a thing at this time yet. Go ahead and find the video. Yes, go ahead and go through the mountain of fucking videos to try to find that shit. Someone will. Someone always does. But if you're a DSP fanboy, you're not going to necessarily know where to go for that. Because Phil has already isolated you, if you will. He's already isolated you from the detractors. Those people are bad. Those people are crazy. Those people are mentally ill. Those people will hurt you. And through hurting you, they'll hurt me. So stay away from them. You see the pignosis? You see how it played out back in those days? Let's continue.
Break. I'm going to jump into this post-game challenging content that I heard is really challenging. And I head downstairs into my kitchen, and there's a puddle of water in front of my sink. I'm looking down, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I open up the cabinets, water comes pouring out. I'm looking up, nothing's leaking. What's going on? I turn on the faucet, water starts pouring down into the bottom of my cabinet. And I look at the back wall and I realize this has been an ongoing issue apparently for a while, but we never would know. How would you know that there's a leak under your sink if it's only when you turn your faucet on, right? Because then how would you see or hear the water? You wouldn't, and it never accumulated to the point where it spilled out, so we never saw it. There's mold on the back wall of the fucking sink.
Now, listen to this tard like shit. Listen to this tard like shit. First off, why would you ever need to go under your sink? Most people store stuff under their sink. For example, additional dish soap, right? Scrubbies or whatever it is that you use to go ahead and clean your dishes, and other pieces of paraphernalia or so on and so forth. So it's not like something you would go under there every day for, but you may end up checking a couple of times a week. And here's the thing. He said that a bunch of water came out. That means, as he said, this has been accumulating for a while. Which means what? It means that there's probably been small puddles on the floor, right? And someone cleaned it up, more than likely Leanna. Leanna probably looked and said, that looks like that might be a problem. Told Phil, and Phil didn't just do anything about it. Oh, it's probably not that serious. Oh, you're probably just splashing water. Oh, whatever, you dumb bitch. I'll get to it when I get to it. There were definitely warning signs, and yet he did not a goddamn thing about it. Not a goddamn thing. Matter of fact, we're going to bring this back because I want you guys to hear this again. This is what and how this idiot conducts himself. It's scary. It's absolutely scary to see this shit happen. I make a good screenshot too. Uh-oh, that would make a really good screenshot. What's this at? That is at the minute and 58 second mark. I'm gonna leave that guys up there for your viewing arrangement. That shit's actually kind of funny looking. But it's amazing that he let that shit happen as long as he did. Him and Panda. And I feel like Panda would have at least said something. She would have at least looked. She's the one who's doing all the cooking and cleaning anyway. And then to use the excuse that why would we ever even go down there? What? And more importantly, most people line not only their cabinets but under their sinks and stuff like that with either newspaper or some type of special liner to absorb additional moisture and so on and so forth to prevent molding and stuff like that. I guess they didn't think about doing that either, I suppose. But this just to give you an idea, ladies and gentlemen, of how bad of a condition that house is in. Let me give you another example. So we're in 2020, our current year of gout. This idiot has one of his bathrooms. I think it's the one downstairs, but I can't remember. One of his bathrooms has a broken toilet. Now, granted, he had a broken toilet beforehand too. His parents flew out from Connecticut to Washington State to come and basically square his house up, hang shit up, paint rooms, take care of the lawn, and take care of other stuff. Like he had a bunch of brush that was literally growing into their fireplace exhaust, which is a fire hazard in itself. There was a broken toilet. I can't remember if the same one or a different one. They had a broken toilet that was messed up. All this shit. And his parents flew out to do all of this work. Span of, I don't know if they may have been there for a couple days, maybe a week. Oh, speaking of which, Phil didn't let them actually stay at his house. They had to stay at not an apartment. They had to stay at a hotel. So keep that in mind as well, as being the good son, right? Because, a good son would go ahead and fork up their room to their parents, who's doing all this goddamn work, while you guys sleep on the couch, or the guest bedroom, or whatever. Or your office, studio, whatever. But not Phil, though. No, you guys are coming out and doing all this work every day. You guys are going to be here. Yeah, you guys go ahead and stay in a hotel. You guys go ahead and deal with that. He may have paid for that hotel, but it's Phil Brunel. Do you really think he did it? Really? Any case. But he has a broken toilet now, currently. He said it's been broken for a while. I think, don't quote me, I think he said that toilet was broken since he started messing around with Cat. So that was it could possibly predate even Panda leaving. That toilet's still been broken. And he's just been letting it sit there. Now, if there's a busted pipe or whatever the case may be, that right there is fucking with the foundation of that's under that bathroom. Who knows what kind of reoccurring issues? And this idiot is too lazy, too stupid, and too cheap to pay a professional plumber to come out there and look at it. At least get an assessment of the damage. And he's let that go possibly for years, ladies and gentlemen. Possibly for years. Just something to think about. Because, you know, I am a mature adult with a business degree. Defiant sniff.
Only when you turn your faucet on, right? Because then how would you see or hear the water? You wouldn't, and it never accumulated to the point where it spilled out, so we never saw it. There's mold on the back wall of the fucking sink. I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. It's like when it rains, it pours. So not only did I find out that ad revenue, I'm looking up, nothing's leaking. What's going on? I turn on the faucet. Water starts pouring down into the bottom of my cabinet. And I look at the back wall and I realize this has been an ongoing issue apparently for a while, but we never would know. How would you know that there's a leak under your sink if it's only when you turn your faucet on, right? Because then how would you see or hear the water? You wouldn't, and it never accumulated to the point where it spilled out, so we never saw it. There's mold on the back wall of the fucking sink. I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. It's like when it rains, it pours. So not only did I find out that ad revenue was absolutely terrible in February and it's putting me out of business, now I've got a crazy ass leak in my sink and there's mold everywhere in my kitchen. I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously. So I had to stop streaming earlier today. And I had to basically, for the past hour, that's why I look like shit and everything, I was scrubbing mold out from underneath my sink. I called a plumber. Plumber's coming tomorrow morning to look into this. More than likely, I get the feeling they're going to have to replace the whole faucet because the faucet's the original one from this house. This house was built in the 1990s. It's probably falling apart, and it's probably going to be several $100s of repair cost. Great, just what I need when I'm making no money on YouTube, right? But I digress. That's my day today. But then I read my email and got good news. I'm like, holy shit, I've got to share this news with everyone. All right, here's the deal. Here's what's going on. Machinima looked into my concerns regarding ad revenue plummeting in February. And they literally, the first thing that they said to me this time was, this doesn't make any sense. Everyone's ad revenue went up in February. So I was correct with my estimation that in February, ad revenue goes from a low in January and it spikes up because, you know, like I said, there's the Super Bowl, all those ads, there's new movies. I know for a fact ad revenue spikes on YouTube in February, okay? So for me to lose money in February and make less money on ads makes no sense. If you remember from yesterday's video,
if you have less viewership, idiot, then no, it does make sense. And that's something that he's not taking into account, but detractors back then did bring up. This idiot's viewership was all over the fucking place. You know what I mean? Like, all over the fucking place. Like, at the time that I'm recording this, his viewership monthly is at, like, somewhere between, like, 750 and, like, 850. 800,000, I should say. It's between 750,000 and 800,000 a month. That's pretty shitty. You know what I mean? That's pretty fucking shitty. So back then, it was probably higher. He was probably, luckily, still in the 2-3 million category. Basically where Monday Matt was before he started his flagging campaign, right? But at the same time, he's not taking into account that his viewership is going to shit. His viewership is going into shit. And then I think detractors still do it now, at least some do, is they go ahead, they should anyway, they're ad blocking the fuck out of his videos anyway when they're going over to watch them and then eventually download them. There are all kinds of variables, even before ad revenue took a real shit. And yet he didn't even think about it. It was almost like he was trying to play Machinima into a position like, hey, my viewership has been in a steady decline. Now all these YouTubers are talking about ad revenues going down and they don't know what's going on, and let's blame PewDiePie. Oh shit, Machinima, I'm being affected by that too. Despite the fact that I've been in a decline for the months, if not years prior to this. You need to compensate me in some way. Because he's just the type of scumbag to do something like that. He really is. Oh well. Let's continue.
Percent decrease in the amount of money I made on advertisements from January, which was already down. It makes no logical sense whatsoever, okay? So here's what Machinima has found. They did the math, and they said, Phil, we have confirmed that for some reason your channel made They didn't give me a percent, but they actually gave me a number, so I can actually explain to you how it works, okay? The way it works, the way that ad revenue is measured is per 1,000 views.
They didn't give you a percent, but they gave you an exact number. Okay, Mr. Valedictorian, can you break it down into a percentage for us? No? And then the prior video, at least the way he's making it sound, right, is they gave him little to no information, but then someone decided to put in the work and reach out to him the very next day? Even though he ends up telling us later on that there were, which is obvious, by the way, during the whole ad apocalypse situation, that there were plenty of partners on Machinima, as well as other MCNs, I'm sure, who were reaching out to their MCNs respectfully and be like, hey, can you give us an idea what's going on, what the issues are, so on and so forth. So you're telling me that they're basically catering to Darksydephil now in, what is this, February of 2017, but then when they dropped his ass only a couple of months later, they weren't giving him any help, they weren't telling him anything, and that's the reason why he was trying to work his way up the Machinima high command to get an answer? Think about that. Take that all in.
On average, there's some people who make more and some people who make less. On average, in the month of January, I made
also,
about
you have to take into account, though, too, that the ads were broken up into tiers, right? So, like, you had, like the, what do they call it? It was either Premier, Premium, or... let's call them Premium. That's not what they were called, though. There was, like, Premium ads. That was the ads that, like, people like Logan Paul and shit were getting because they had a lot of subs, right? And they had a lot of people watching their videos on consistently. So YouTube had like a whole bracket just for those people. They still do, but even though they tell you they don't. Come on, Susan, who are you playing with? But they have a whole bracket for that. And then you had what MCNs had, and then you had what everybody else who was kind of, you know, part of the YouTube program had or whatever. There's tiers of all of that shit. At least there were. Where do you think Phil was at in that pecking order? Even amongst Machinima. Do you think, honestly, I want you to think about this. Do you think that Darksydephil was getting the type of ads, or you think his CPM was where Maximilian's was when Maximilian was on Machinima? And Maximilian was on Machinima years after Phil got kicked off. Years after. Do you think that was the situation? According to Wings of Redemption lore, he said that he ended up leaving Machinima, or he was dropped off Machinima in like 2015. Some crazy year like that, which makes no sense because you were still doing gameplay. And I think he was still uploading around that time too. So why would Machinima drop you? So that's probably another lie on Jordy's part, but give me some time to look into that. Because that's an interesting little wormhole in itself. Think about all the big names that were on Machinima who were real big names in gaming, right? And think about what their CPMs were, or just estimate, I should say, what their CPMs were compared to this idiot. He was nowhere near in the upper echelon of Machinima partners. Even though he is a Machinima partner, there's tiers to that too. And it's the people who make money and the people who don't. And Phil Burnell wasn't making money. Even back in 2017. There's a reason why Curse ended up dropping his ass a couple years later. Or actually 18 months after he joined them. Because he wasn't bringing in money. They were paying him probably more than what he was worth. Just keep that in mind.
70, I think, per 1,000 ad-supported views. Now, there's plenty of people who watch it and they don't get ads because they're in regions that there are no ads.
My bad. I'll bring this back for you guys because just so you guys can hear the full statement when it comes to the percentage. I'm going to go back a little bit further than probably normal. That's kind of going to be my stitch, if you will, my stick. So keep that in mind.
Actually explain to you how it works, okay? The way it works, the way that ad revenue is measured is per 1,000 views. So on average, there's some people who make more and some people who make less. On average, in the month of January, I made about $1.70, I think, per 1,000 ad-supported views. Now, there's plenty of people who watch it and they don't get ads because they're in regions that there are no ads. There's people It makes no logical sense whatsoever, okay? So here's what Machinima has found. They did the math, and they said, Phil, we have confirmed that for some reason, your channel made, they didn't give me a percent, but they actually gave me a number, so I can actually explain to you how it works, okay? The way it works, the way that ad revenue is measured is per 1,000 views. So on average, there's some people who make more and some people who make less. On average, in the month of January, I made about $1.70, I think, per 1,000 ad-supported views. Now, there's plenty of people who watch it and they don't get ads because they're in regions that there are no ads. There's people who have ad block on.
Didn't John say, but because I know John has said this before, John Rambo, that he was making like $2 for every 1,000 views or something along those lines? It may have been a little bit more. And so now you're down to $1.70? See, I guess we would have to talk to someone who's like monetized, because my stuff's not monetized, so I don't know how exactly CPMs work and if they jump by month to month. I wouldn't think so. I would think your CPM would be the same thing across the board, right? Or does it depend on each group of individual ads? I wish G Money was around before I did this, because then I could have gone through him and given you some better details. Well, there's always someone who has the 411 down in the comment section, so that's always a thing too. But I always thought though that you were kind of locked in when it came to your CPM, unless it depended on what type of ads obviously you were getting. You know what I mean? Because the high tier of ads pay, their CPM is like this. For mid tier, your CPMs would be like this. For low tier, your ads are going to be like this. You know what I'm saying? So depending on the tier you're on, depending on what your CPM would be. But I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll find out as we go along.
$1.70 means nothing. It doesn't mean that I made $1.70 per 1,000 views. It actually means I made way less than that. Okay. But that's the estimate. In January went down. On average, a good amount you're looking to make on YouTube for ad revenue is around $2 per 1,000 views. That's kind of what you want. You want around $2 per 1,000 views, because that's kind of a good average. Now, the thing is, the end of the year, the holidays, it goes up. Usually it's like $3, $4, $5. And then in January, it plummets. It goes below $2, which is what happened for me. They said in January, it looks like you made about $1.70 per 1,000 views for those who actually had ads supported and all that. In February so far, you're making $1.30. $1.30. So think about that. That's 40 cents out of $1.70. So that's about a fourth, a little more, no, a little less than a fourth, I guess you could say, of a decrease from what I was making in January. That's crazy. So already January, it dipped, and then it dipped another fourth, the other 25%. So it's true. It already had dipped by some, 10, 20% in January, then it dipped another 25%. So that's what's happening.
Okay, okay. It says right here, at least on Google, that that on average, see, the year doesn't make sense though. Well, not make sense, but the year would be different. We're in 2020. I don't know what year this is from, because he's talking about 2017. But it says right here that your general retail CPM would be like $1.30, $1.39. I'm sorry. Wait a second. That's for small business advertising. My bad. That's what you would pay for. That's what you're paying to actually have stuff advertised, not what these guys are going to make. Now, but that opens up a kind of some worms, though. I'm going to keep researching. That opens up a bit of a can of worms, though, a little bit. Because you remember how Phil said that, oh, my ad revenue was cut from this to now to this, or has been halved by this. He's not actually talking about, he's talking about the percentage that he's talking about the percentage of his ad revenue was getting cut. Not actually the amount of money that he's taking home. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously that affects it. Obviously. But they were cutting him off on the amount of percentages, at what his percentage was each and every month. So this dude's CPM, theoretically, has been dropping for years. If you think about it. Because I swore John said that he was making about, Phil was making like $2 for every 1,000 views. Oh boy, that changes things a little bit. All right, let me back this back up a little bit though. Just because there's some stuff I want to rehear this. And then I like my I like this rewind feature. It's not exactly YouTube rewind because it doesn't have all the dislikes yet.
With everyone. All right, here's the deal. Here's what's going on. Machinima looked into my concerns regarding ad revenue plummeting in February. And they literally, the first thing that they said to me this time was, this doesn't make any sense. Everyone's ad revenue went up in February. So I was correct with my estimation that in February, ad revenue goes from a low in January and it spikes up because, like I said, there's the Super Bowl, all those ads, there's new movies. I know for a fact ad revenue spikes on YouTube in February, okay? So for me to lose money in February and make less money on ads makes no sense. If you remember from yesterday's video, 35% decrease in the amount of money I made on advertisements from January, which was already down. It makes no logical sense whatsoever, okay? So here's what Machinima has found. They did the math. And they said, Phil, we have confirmed that for some reason your channel made, they didn't give me a percent, but they actually gave me a number. So I can actually explain to you how it works, okay? The way it works, the way that ad revenue is measured is per 1,000 views. So on average, there's some people who make more and some people who make less. On average, in the month of January, I made about $1.70, I think, per 1,000 ad-supported views. Now, there's plenty of people who watch it and they don't get ads because they're in regions that there are no ads. There's people who have ad block on. So me telling you $1.70 means nothing. It doesn't mean that I made $1.70 per 1,000 views. It actually means I made way less than that, okay? But that's the estimate. In January went down. On average, a good amount you're looking to make on YouTube for ad revenue is around $2.
Here's just a real quick thing. So it says right here on average, for 100,000 views on YouTube, would average out between something like $500 to $1,000, right? On average, it sways up a little more or sways down a little more. But for most YouTubers, that's kind of what they're looking like. Now, yet again, that doesn't apply for everybody. But for 100,000 views, you're looking at between 500 and 1,000. Which is something that most of us already know anyway. Yeah, everybody's saying that basically across the board for the most part. Now I want to look into this deeper, because now I wonder if I could backtrack a little bit, it might actually be able to isolate it in. I'm going to have to talk to G Money again. Well, I need to talk to G Money anyway. I need to see how he's doing. But this is definitely something to ask him about. I wonder if there's like an online calculator for CPMs though.
Per 1,000 views. That's kind of what you want. You want around $2 per 1,000 views because that's kind of a good average. Now, the thing is, the end of the year, the holidays, it goes up. Usually it's like $3, $4, $5. And then in January, it plummets. It goes below $2, which is what happened for me. They said in January, it looks like you made about $1.70 per 1,000 views for those who actually had ads supported and all that. In February so far, you're making $1.30. $1.30. So think about that. That's 40 cents out of $1.70. So that's about a fourth, a little more, no, a little less than a fourth, I guess you could say, of a decrease from what I was making in January. That's crazy. So already January, it dipped, and then it dipped another fourth, another 25%. So it's true. It already had dipped by some, 10, 20% in January, then it dipped another 25%. So that's what's happening. They said, we confirmed this. Your channel is making way less money on ads, and we don't know why. And here's what Machinima is saying. They're saying, no, your ad revenue should have gone up. There is no legitimate reason here why your channel should be making less money on ads. It makes no sense. Now, what they did say to me was the only situation where they've seen this happen, where ad revenue goes down for someone like this, is if a video and or their channel is deemed as what's called, hold on, because they have the term. I have the exact term. I had the exact term. The email disappeared. You gotta be kidding me. Hold on. Stupid fucking thing. I lost it and I can't find it. God damn it. Of course, when I'm doing this, that's when it has to happen.
Also, CPMs, the amount, I should say, also depends on the country you're in, too. I found an online chart for it. That's kind of crazy. Holy shit. So he's got a lot of different variables against him. Also, he is right, though, too, that during the holidays, obviously, ad revenue would shoot up because of, obviously, it's the holiday season. You're going to get, you'll more than likely get better ads across the board. But ladies and gentlemen, yet again, he needs to have those people actually watching those ads. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the key. He doesn't have the viewership, and I would guess the larger percentage of that viewership aren't watching ads. So he's trying to make it seem like this is everybody else's fault, and yet again, as a typical DSP-ism, this is his own failure coming back to haunt him. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
The email has disappeared from my inbox even though there's no reason for it. Oh, wait a minute. I sent a reply. I should be able to find it based off of that. I'm sorry for the delay, everyone. This is pissing me off. Here we go. Got it. Jesus Christ. Okay. It's called... It's called what's deemed advertiser unfriendly. All right. What does that mean? It means an advertiser or someone...
You couldn't remember that? I thought you might have been like looking for like a deeper term, or you were going into some deep analytics. You couldn't remember the term advertiser unfriendly? And yet that shit goes ahead and comes out of his snout on the regular now.
I said, this channel doesn't look like it would be advertisement friendly. Now, what kind of channels get this? This was actually a big controversy earlier in 2016 when people who were vloggers were doing vlogs about things with tags that said like sex or rape and stuff like that. Politics, they were doing videos on politics, and those were being deemed as advertiser unfriendly. And the vloggers were complaining on YouTube, we're vlogging about stuff that's pertinent topics, and you're telling me just because it's a topic that maybe isn't like PG, that it's advertiser unfriendly, and now I can't make money on it anymore? So what happens on YouTube, if you have a video that's deemed advertiser unfriendly, first of all, you're supposed to get a notification, and in the video manager, which is a page on YouTube for anyone who uploads videos, there's a little icon when you monetize a video, and it says green for monetized. It changes supposedly to yellow and says it is monetized, but it's been deemed advertiser unfriendly. Therefore, you're going to earn limited ad revenue on this video. All right. Now, that's a per video. That's not even supposed to be a blanket thing that happens to an entire channel. But what Machinima is telling me is, yeah, for DSP Gaming, your entire channel in February is making less ad revenue for no apparent reason.
I'm glad he actually brought that up. A couple things, because this is a misconception that some of his fan base have, and they never think about this shit. This idiot makes money on the larger majority of his catalog. Your catalog, by the way, is everything that you've ever uploaded onto YouTube and you have monetized. Your old videos. His channels, I should say, they all make money every day. As long as there's somebody who's watching it without ad block on, it's making money. Period. So there's always money coming into YouTube. But he tried to sell it in 2017, 2018, and 2019. And a little bit this year too. That, if he's not uploading anything onto DSP Gaming, then he's not making money. Which is a blatant lie. Any detractor will tell you that, because most of them have. So his channels are always generating money. The problem is that they're not generating enough money, because this idiot was always on this he always had this frame of thought that I'm going to go ahead and swamp my channel with all these videos and drown out everybody else because I'm putting up more videos than they are, and you'll always have to watch me and I'll always make money and I'll always live off of YouTube for the rest of his life. That was legit his plan. That's legit what he thought was going to happen. Not realizing that by oversaturating the system faded him out. And it faded him out because if he couldn't get a large amount of views in a very short amount of time, then his shit immediately gets bumped. And then everybody else who had actual quality, who actually had talent and had substance, they moved up. Think about what Blip.tv told him. Yeah, when we look, your videos for the most part went after they reviewed it, after the whole situation with when they got the initial complaints for the Dead Space 2 demo. It was basically a bunch of, fumbling, Mirandering type, commentary, because he was drunk most of those times. Or the commentary was just non-existent, or the content was just toilet humor for the sake of toilet humor. It came back to haunt him. So even if the Dead Space 2 thing wasn't enough to get him kicked off of Blip.tv, buggy talking mechanics, all of the other things he was doing that was breaking their TOS would have had him kicked in the first place. So if you go back to that situation, the meeting that he had coming up with whoever it was his point of contact, they were probably going to tell him that, hey, you're breaking our TOS doing this, this, and this. If you don't change it, sadly, we're going to have to remove you. And Phil has never taken that into account either. So he was fighting a losing battle with Blip TV for the sake of doing it, because he was already fucking up. Same thing with this whole Machinima situation. You're sitting here trying to fight a losing battle, talking about how, all of my... They're only supposed to do that for a video-by-video basis. They're doing that to my whole channel. He has years upon years of offensive, drunken, belligerent bullshit on that channel, and if any type of keywords or phrases or anything that was picked up, then bloop, it got hit too. Remember, Phil bitches and complains about the automated system, and then when you put the request in for review, then supposedly someone's supposed to, a human, is supposed to go back and actually review it. So, yet again, he's fucking himself over. Habitually, he is screwing himself over. But it's everybody else's fault, though. Oh, the system's not supposed to work this way, it's supposed to work this way. Oh, so it wasn't supposed to hit your old shit. That was legit shit. But it's only supposed to, criticize or critique your new stuff. The old stuff, though, oh man, I've already put all that up. I've already made a good amount of money on that stuff. Why are you guys trying to hit that? Only hit the new stuff if you feel that you need to. Don't touch my old stuff because I need that. That's my nest egg. You see how stupid this guy is? Absolute tard.
There's no indication anywhere that you've been deemed advertiser unfriendly. In fact, it wouldn't even make logical sense. All I do on DSP Gaming is let's play videos of video games, right?
That is not true at all. His commentary is garbage. His commentary is straight trash. And when I say straight trash, it's all that offensive dumb shit, all the stupid jokes, all that crazy crap, right? That he sat there and tried to pass off as commentary. Back in the Wild West days of YouTube, when you could get away with anything. You see how that stuff came back to haunt him a little bit? Because he had no real substance whatsoever, right? The kids responded to the fucking toilet humor, so that's what he kept throwing at him. And now, years and years later, after he's already made all of his money off of that, now he's only bringing in small shekels at this point, we want to bitch and complain about it. About how, why are you guys going to take my money from that now? You guys let it go before. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what happens when the sins of the past come back to essentially consume you, if you will. You reap what you sow. You went ahead and you were lazy with your harvest, or with your planting, and then it didn't yield a very good harvest years down the line. And remember, idiot, this was supposed to be this idiot's fucking nest egg. This is how he was supposed to make his money. You know what I mean? It's crazy how he pulled this. My bad. When I said idiot the first time I met him, don't mean the people that are actually watching this. Even his fan base can't be. You can't even throw his fan base under the bus for this. This is his own dumbass fault. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then he's like, oh, it's only gameplay footage. So what? Actually, it's because it's gameplay footage, it would get scrutinized even more. What's the situation now that we're dealing with? COPA, which is the whole situation where, you know, if you're basically, it's not a good thing to make, you know, any type of content that's marketed or made for children, because you're going to be under heavy scrutinization, and more than likely you're going to get fucked out of it anyway. Same concept. Phil always, and that's another tard thing that Phil was doing at the time, that he thought he was so damn smart and it came back to bite him. Oh, I'm only doing gameplay footage, so I should always have the accessibility to children and whatnot, because it's video games. It's harmless, except for the fact that your commentary isn't. And you think that the gameplay itself was supposed to hide you or protect you, if you will, from any type of scrutiny, and it don't. So when you're saying shitty dicks and up asses about this, and you're doing all that cursing and crap on a gameplay video, it's not going to shield you. It didn't shield him. It wasn't really shielding him much back then. And then look at it now. I bet you there's a bunch of shit now that's, I'd say the majority of the stuff he puts out now, honestly, is limited in ads. And he just doesn't say anything because he knows it. But, excuse me, what are you going to do?
Topics, nothing, none of that stuff. It's just raw gameplay, which has forever been deemed as advertisement worthy on YouTube. So it's complete horseshit. I mean, I had an advertisement.
Times changed, and you didn't change with it. And like I said, it's this old man tard mentality. Like the world doesn't continue to keep moving. Everything has to stay the same. Everything has to stay consistent. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this idiot is on record saying that he was hoping to be on Machinima for the rest of his life. He was going to go ahead and have this. He was hoping this gravy train was going to go on forever. Think about that.
Partnership contract to put advertisements on my videos since 2011. I'm pretty sure that 6 years later, one night, someone didn't flip a switch and say, "Oh, video game, gameplay is now advertiser unfriendly on YouTube." Bullshit, right? So that was the first email I got from Machinima. Let me summarize. I did have a 25% roughly decline in ad revenue from January to February. It's confirmed by YouTube, or confirmed by Machinima, excuse me. I should have had an increase, not a decrease. So I was right in my estimation. I should have made more money and I made less. I was right there. And there seems to be no logical reason why this happened. It seems to be an error because I'm not deemed advertiser unfriendly. There's no indication anywhere that this has happened. Okay. So then Machinima followed up again later, and about half an hour later, sent me another email and said, "Phil, FYI, we're looking into this for you. We're deep diving into our data. We found someone else who is also a managed partner in our network, just like you, who has the same problem." Now, I don't know if they were aware of it or not, but we found them. Now we have 2 cases. So now we're going to YouTube to find out what is going on with you and this other person, because this, obviously it's ridiculous. I'm going to go out of business. This is ridiculous. I'm making less money for no reason. So everyone else who puts videos on YouTube is making more money than me right now. So I've been selected to be the shit stain of YouTube because someone at YouTube is a fucking idiot. And I told you, just like yesterday, I've so had it with this. I've had it with having my business get screwed over every little which way by YouTube. They've changed so many things over the years that have screwed over me and my business model. I'm infuriated right now. And now to find out that this might be an error or something that happened, oh my God, it's really hard for me to not want to file a lawsuit at this point. Seriously. All the shit that they've done, it's really getting difficult. And of course, people are saying, "Phil, but you signed terms of service when you signed up for YouTube." And so what? With all the shit that I have compiled, who's to say that if I were to take them to court for wrongful treatment, look at this, every little thing they've done hurt my business, yet they weren't transparent about what they were doing. This in particular, zero
they don't have to.
About taking
it's their business. I'm sorry, you're essentially an employee. Terms of service gets changed all the fucking time. You've ignored the TOS multiple times. That's why certain channels aren't viewable to the general public anymore. Because you were like, "Oh, I'll get around to it," never did it. And then when you tried to, it was already too late. And so, and what do you mean that, oh, this is their terms of service, so what? You don't get to disregard rules that are laid out by a platform that allows you to make money on there. You're not their priority at the end of the day. If YouTube shuts down tomorrow, everybody's fucked. So what does that mean? Does that mean everybody can go to court and sue YouTube because YouTube decided to close down? Or sue Google or sue any of those things? No one told you that you could make... No one told you that to make money off of our platform. No one told you to make a living off of our platform. No one told you to be dependent on our platform. It's a privilege, not a right. That's what it comes down to. It is a privilege, not a right. If you're going to do this for a living, then one would think that you will put certain safeguards up to protect you. Last time I checked, YouTube doesn't have a 401k. They don't have IRAs. They don't set up nest eggs. You kind of have to do all that on your own. You see where the problem comes into play? Yet again, more of this piggy-tard shit that he was spewing out back in 2017. Just to give you an idea how foolish this guy is.
Ad revenue from me for no fucking reason. They don't have a leg to stand on here. They have no defense whatsoever for what they've done to me. Okay? I don't know, man. Well, you know, the thing is, I love doing YouTube. I wanted YouTube as a living. You take YouTube to court, I'm not going to be doing this no more. So, the thing is, I'm just hoping this will get resolved. They'll find out maybe it was an internal glitch, it was an error. Maybe they got an employee who hates my guts. He's a fucking detractor, and he watches all the fucking angry videos about me on YouTube, and he's a dick, and he decided behind the scenes to flick on the switch to lower my ad revenue on DSP Gaming. Who fucking knows what it is? I actually don't even give a fuck. I just want it fixed. Because now it's 3 weeks, over 3 weeks in February. Today's what, the 23rd? So 23 days where I've been making 25% less than what I'm supposed to be making. By the way, do you think YouTube's going to pick up the slack and pay me for that? Fuck no. They're going to say, oh, well, we fixed it now, so it's good going forward. And they're not going to pay me the money they owe me, basically. So, I don't know. I'm still nervous. We don't know what's going on, but this is, at least we've got confirmation that the issue exists. From Machinima's standpoint, this is completely erroneous, and they're going to bat for me with, you know, with YouTube, and hopefully they'll have an update. Okay? And that's about it. That's what I have in for you now. I'm so disheveled. Look at me, because I got a deal. I got a plumber coming tomorrow morning. So, by the way, FYI, my stream tomorrow morning is not guaranteed to start at the right time, because it depends on when this plumber shows up. I'll post that up on Twitter, so people understand that, but this plumber's coming between 11 and 1 tomorrow, so that usually I start by 12, my stream. No guarantee I can even do that now, because I don't know when the plumber's showing up. I don't know how serious of an issue this is. If this is, he can go up and just go boop and fix it, or if this is going to be, oh my god, your whole faucet's falling apart, and this is going to need a whole replacement, so we have to go buy you a replacement faucet, then install. It's going to be hundreds of dollars and hours of labor. I just want to play games, man. I just want to have fun. I want to go back. I'm serious now. I just want to go back to how it was when I started with Machinima in 2011, when every day I could just walk in, I could play games and have fun. I don't have to worry about ad revenue. I don't have to worry about copyright strikes. I don't have to worry about nasty fucking people saying shit behind my back and saying I'm a liar. That's what, someone's been spamming me today. I lied in my video last month in January. I lied about what I had made. No, I didn't. What the fuck are you talking about, you stupid idiot? Like, this is what I mean, but they take this shit. Oh, Phil made a video in January saying that he had made less money. Now he makes one in February, and it contradicts the first one. Therefore, Phil's a terrible person and a liar. What? Like, what? And that's it. There's no evidence, because it's not. It's factually untrue, what they're saying, but they'll all hype each other up about it, right? They hype each other up, and now it's a group mentality, a bandwagon, and now they'll believe it. I just want to.
But what evidence does he have? He has nothing to dispel it. He has nothing to prove it. This is probably one of the first videos, not though, trust me, there's plenty that I haven't seen, where he actually throws out numbers, like legit numbers. And not, without a level of vagary to it, I should say. And history has proven that he's a fucking liar. He's admitted it. He's admitted it, especially in recent years. He's admitted it multiple times that he's lied, you know, to protect himself and his family, and whatever other silly ass reason that he came up with. Sorry. What the fuck? So yeah, if they heard you say something in January, or even in December, right? Definitely in November. that contradicts what you're saying now, you're going to have to kind of answer for that. But he can't, because he can probably barely remember it. And that's one of the real things that fucks over Darksydephil. Most of his lies, he can't remember. That's why it's so hard to dispel it. That's why that whole 7 years debunk bullshit belonged to somebody else. That was Dragon Killer, or he used to go by Dragon Killer. I'm not sure what he's going by now. But Dragon Killer, also known as DSP Archives on Twitter, that was his list, if I remember correctly. He was the one who came up with that list. And Darksydephil took it and tried to dispel it or debunk it, and didn't do it because he had no evidence to back nothing up. Jesus Christ. So you have a liar, a known liar, to call other people liars when they can present proof to you or present what he said at the time that he said it that they find suspicious, and he can't even do that himself to try to defend himself or to try to explain it away, because he always lying, and about the smallest shit. And it's always the smallest shit that ends up getting the biggest response out of him, because he's a fucking dumbass.
Playing games every day and having fun and not having this. This is ridiculous. Like, this is just out of control. What is going on? That all I ever wanted to do was play a video game, react to it, share it with people, and we could all have a good time together and be entertained, right? What happened to this? What happened to YouTube? Really, what the fuck happened to this website? Look what it is now. It's nothing like what it used to be. It's all big-time production, corporate shit. The big guys who are going to make us tons of ad revenue. It's all about, look at this. Look what they did to me. Fuck Phil. He's only been here for 8 fucking years. Put up over, 50,000 gameplay videos on YouTube total. And, provided how many years of content for us. And brought in how many thousands of people to YouTube. Fuck him, because he's not PewDiePie, right? So
who gives a shit? You're not bringing nobody in any money. You're making it sound like YouTube was built off your back. And it wasn't. Even YouTube's gaming division wasn't built off you. So what the fuck are you talking about? You always treated YouTube as your own personal gain. Oh, this is where people come to see me. You didn't go out there and collab with other people. You didn't try to go ahead and spread your influence to help other people out in the gaming atmosphere or gaming sphere. You didn't do any of that. That Sopa and Pippa nonsense was really just you being in a bitch fit because you thought if it went through, you might not be able to put gaming content on YouTube for profit. Because if that was the case, why didn't you tie your name to the book that eventually came out years later when those people reached out to you and said, hey, we'd like you to include you into this? And you said no. Why would you separate yourself from something that supposedly you were so passionate about? Because you weren't. You weren't. And for whatever reason, you thought tying your name to something like that was going to hurt you later on down the line. Now, nobody remembers you for that except for assholes like me. So you can't even really, and most people don't remember that shit anyway, unless they've seen a video that someone like myself or Tevin or some other detractor actually went ahead and did on it. So that goes ahead and cuts you out the fucking loop. You didn't build anything. You have this symbiotic type relationship with YouTube. You were just suckling at their teat, just like your mothers. You were never man enough to do anything on your own, and everything that you did do, you failed. That's what it comes down to. YouTube doesn't need to appreciate you. What the fuck is you? And that's what it really comes down to. You're a fucking nobody. You have no value. That's why YouTube don't give a shit about you. You don't make them money. You don't bring any prestige to them. You've been, if nothing else, you've kind of hurt YouTube in some way, shape, or form on a very, very small, minute scale. Because people like you really shouldn't be making money on YouTube. Does he have a right to be on YouTube and say his opinions and everything? Yeah. Should he be monetized? Probably not. Probably not. The same thing with Twitch, too. And it's funny how Twitch is going down the drain also. Yet again, not directly because of Darksydephil, DSP, Phil Burnell, Dark Geppetto, Dave. No, not directly because of him. But the type of shit that he engages in and he promotes isn't very good for the site overall as a whole. If anybody from any news media site, like legitimate one, you know what I'm saying, actually went ahead and spotlighted a couple of streamers, if Phil Brunel's name comes up, there's going to be problems. Especially the begging that he does. And then throwing up all of his personal problems to compensate and to essentially be used as sympathy to give him money. That's not a good look at all. Any reporter would sit there and rip that shit apart because that's something to be mocked. And it's something to be exploited. First world problems on streaming websites. Like, that's a... Jesus Christ, that would be a fucking field day. It is what it is. He was given more than what he was supposed to, and he squandered it. And then thought it was going to last forever, and it didn't. And all the opportunities that he had to change and get better, he fucking threw that shit at the wayside because he thought that was for the losers and the nobodies. Not for people who have already made money. And the only thing he can stand on now is, oh, I used to be this, I used to have this, I used to make this, people used to think this about me. Times change. Jesus Christ.
Fuck, man. This is out of control at this point. And I'm glad, thank God. And people say to me, why are you still with Machinima? Partnered networks are a thing of the past. Well, two reasons. Number one, because I'm with Machinima under a managed partnership. I have a lot of protection.
A managed partnership that he didn't even use to its fullest extent. To its fullest potential. He only stayed with Machinima because, one, he really couldn't go anywhere else. Because any other MCN that he approached either wouldn't take him or were going to cut him off at the fucking knees after they saw his metrics. They were like, yeah, oh, but I've been around for X amount of time and I have this much channel views and everything. And it's like, yeah, that's great on what you used to have. What are you bringing to the table now? Barely 3 million views. I'm trying to, give him some leeway, being that this was 2017. What, barely 3 million views for the month? For the amount of videos that you put out? We're willing to offer you this. And we don't necessarily see a need to make you a partner channel either. So we're not going to do that. He didn't leave Machinima because there was nowhere else for him to really go. He wasn't going to get the same terms, as in having all his videos protected. He wasn't going to make the amount of money, nor was he going to make any more money. He had nothing to bring to the table. He had no leverage. The channel was already defunct back then. His public personality was trash. And his earning potential was garbage. From a YouTube management partnership standpoint, he was probably minimum wage, if not below that, for a YouTube, managed partnership type circumstance, I should say. He has nothing to bring to the table. And then he has an armada of fucking detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, right? That will literally stifle him at any turn. They don't need that. They'll be willing to take it on, but they're not going to give him any concessions. He's going to have to fight that shit on his own. And he wasn't man enough to do that. He already tried, and it got worse. So he had nothing to offer them. So in turn, they didn't have to give him any compensation. They didn't have to be like, oh, well, maybe it'll get better. They don't have to do any of that bitch-made shit. If you have nothing, you'll be nothing. And that's what it came down to. So he couldn't leave Machinima. He couldn't leave the nest. He had no choice but to stay there. And that's the thing that he was trying to do back then too. He does that now a little bit. That he made it sound like he had options. He really didn't. Not that was going to tap out what he was at now. And what does that make him, ladies and gentlemen? It makes him stagnant. That's what it does. It makes him stagnant. He had if you go back to 2012, probably even 2011, but you go back to 2012 with all the opportunities that Machinima threw at his feet, at his hooves, and he wasted all that shit. If you'd given that to John Rambo or Howard or any of those guys, they'd have made something out of that shit. I guarantee it. But not Phil, though. Oh no, you want me to do more work than what I'm already doing? Fuck that. And look at where it got him. Garbage.
ID. One of the major reasons why people have a lot of problems doing videos for YouTube when they want to do gameplays, they get content ID matches up the ass. Music from over here. Nintendo stealing every possible video that you made ever about Nintendo and claiming all the revenue on them. Content ID is a huge problem for someone who's not with a partnered network. Because I'm a managed partner, I get no content ID matches, and I get ad revenue on all of my videos. So that's a great thing. But
even though Machinima theoretically was stealing from Nintendo, like that situation should have never happened. When Nintendo did that thing where if you're gonna play our game on YouTube for profit, you got to cut us in. Machinima theoretically shouldn't have been able to do what they did. So that was theoretically they stole that money. They theoretically stole that money. And then in a cruel twist of irony, there's nothing cruel about it, by the way. When Phil gets kicked off Machinima, he can't play Nintendo games no more. Now he's super butthurt. So now he wanted people on stream to triple compensate him for it. Because, hear me out. He was going to make money on the stream, right? In subs and probably in tips, right? And then he was going to be able to put it on YouTube for ad revenue. But now he can't do the ad revenue thing. So now if you're over there on stream, you have to make it worth his while. We saw that in late 2017 and in 2018 when it came to Nintendo stuff. All the way up until when Nintendo finally lifted that thing. He would barely play Nintendo games, and when he did, he wanted the maximum amount of compensation because he couldn't monetize it on YouTube.
Honesty. The real reason I'm still with Machinima is because of this right here. Because they deep dive the data, they find out what's going on, and they go to bat for me. They've done it multiple times. When I had false copyright strikes 2 years ago, they were right there. They had a whole meeting with YouTube about it and got it cleared up very quickly. It was supposed to take 2 weeks. They got it cleared up within a few days, right? They take care of me, man. They do, you know, like, I can't complain. They really do a good job of taking care of me, and always, I've been with them for 8 years, and I never, you know, never ever have I really thought about leaving them, because not only do they have this kind of service for me, but they also have the best contract of anyone. I've looked out there for other partnership networks and opportunities. Not one company has ever offered me what Machinima does for me with the contract that I have with them. Okay, even now with the reduced contract based on ad revenue, it's still better than any offer I've gotten from any company, including ones that were trying to get me to signing bonuses and stuff. They were like, we're going to pay you this flat amount of money, you know, to join us. But then I look and I'm like, yeah, but your contract's less than what I'm making with Machinima, so within a few months it's going to be made up the difference anyway, so it doesn't matter. And of course then they have nothing to say. So why would it be a no-brainer for me to leave Machinima, have content ID matches up the ass, make less money, and not have anyone to go back to bat for me? Imagine if I wasn't with Machinima right now. Guess what I'd be doing? Packing everything up. Look, pack this microphone up. YouTube's over. It's done. Party's over, everyone. YouTube party. Hashtag YouTube party is over. And fucking take this fucking soundproof from off the wall. That's it. Going to fucking, you know, get a job, because that's it. Like, what am I going to do? Email them? Do you really think they care? YouTube, me, a common guy, they're not going to answer me. Or if they do, they're going to give me fluff, you know? At least now I got someone going to bat for me, because, hey, the bottom line is, if I fail, it's going to affect Machinima too, right? Doesn't make any sense. So, all right, folks.
And here's the reality. They really wouldn't. Because when they finally kicked him off, how bad did that really hurt Machinima? How much did Machinima really lose? Next to nothing. He was dead weight anyway. But you see how his level of importance has been inflated because of that nonsense? You're a managed partner. You're kind of in bed with them. But that doesn't mean they had a problem with kicking people out. Because, for yet again, as I said earlier on in this broadcast, whatever it was that ended up getting Jordy or Wings of Redemption to leave Machinima or kicked out or whatever the case may be, it didn't hurt him, or it didn't hurt them when Jordy left, and Jordy was definitely bringing in way more views than Phil. So, what's the point? If you think about it. Think about all the other big names who left Machinima. Machinima didn't crash and burn because of that shit. They did years and years later. But losing one shaved monkey doesn't mean that the fucking carnival stops.
Going on. Positive news. All right. Negative news in regards to my kitchen. positive news in regards to what's going on. I'm still going to lose a ton of money this month, and I'm still going to be in financial trouble because of it. But hopefully this can get fixed, all right? Because right now I should be making way more money. Now think about how this sucks. Those 2 weeks, the beginning of February, when Neo was out and it was hot and everyone was tuning in, I didn't make any of the ad revenue I should have made. All that increased ad revenue for the Super Bowl and all that, I lost it all because of YouTube. Isn't that nice? Isn't that fucking nice? But anyway, thank you for your support. Thank you for your positive messages. Thank you for the dozen or so emails I have to read here because I have not even had a fucking chance to read any of these emails to find out. Some people are saying, oh, Phil, I have suggestions. Maybe I can help you out and this and that. I know one person actually said they were going to try to make possibly a dry run of artwork for t-shirts, right? For t-shirts for me to do on Teespring so I can have some additional fundraising through that method. Thanks to those who pledged to my Patreon. A few people did pledge overnight. Your support is very, very appreciated. I'll keep everyone in the loop, all right? All right, I'm off. I have to upload today's gameplay videos that I did get to play before I had to cancel the stream because of this leak in my kitchen. And then I'm off to eat some stew that we made for dinner. We're slow cooking in the kitchen right now. It's done in 45 minutes. And then tonight, I think I'm going to work on a new KO Gaming community creation submission. It's This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid Rising Revengeance. The one with
I can't wait to get into that. That's when he, the community creation fucking program was him trying to cut into the This Is How You Don't Play market and failed miserably. And then he's talking about, oh, I need to go and work on it. You're not working on jack shit. Someone else already submitted it. All he does is throw his intro onto it and then puts it up. But he stopped that after like 6, maybe 8 entries. He stopped that because they weren't getting views. And he was mad that it wasn't getting views. Because his fan base still went to the This Is How You Don't Plays, the original ones, the good ones. The ones that actually have talent. Because they were the good ones and they actually had talent. And they were actually funny. Not the fluff shit that Phil had to approve, right? That spins him in a positive light. Don't get me wrong, he still got a couple thousand views, even a few thousand views on those videos, but it's nothing compared to what those This Is How You Don't Plays are making. And it was burning his bacon about it. Wow, I forgot all about that. I didn't forget about it. I got a video waiting on it.
Flashing shit. That one. Boy, was I bad at that fucking game, and this video is a good one. So, alright, that's it, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'll have more for you soon, hopefully. Peace out. Thank you for your support.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that was that. That was fucking stupid. That was dumb. Literally complaining just for the sake of complaining. Got nothing out of it. I was just weak. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, give me a chance to straighten up. We'll reconvene for final thoughts, and I'll let you guys go with your day. Yay! Ladies and gentlemen, so that was February of 2017, a bitch made fest in the making. Like I said, I've given you at least some of my suspicions on what that situation is. I should probably look into CPMs more, but like I said, I don't monetize my content, so it is what it is. Someone who monetizes would give you guys a better idea of what that was. Like I said, there's always someone down in the comment section that's always very informative and whatnot, so you know that'll be a thing at a later time and date, and it's very much appreciated, by the way. It's failure incarnate. It's failure incarnate. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he was gonna take a hit regardless, and yet again, he didn't plan properly. He avoided everyday real life mature shit so he could go ahead and have his fun. And even though that wasn't really fun back then, and he put himself in this perpetual loop of failure and misery, to be honest with you. You wanted a house because you wanted to play grown up, and yet You thought, what, the house is supposed to just maintain itself? You think you just do some cooking and cleaning on the inside and that's it? No, idiot. It's like your car. It requires maintenance. And you can't tell me that you open it up one morning and you just see all this water just flooded out. There are usually always telltale signs that people ignore on an everyday basis, right? Or Leanna did say something and he kind of just brushed that off and waited until the goddamn thing got really, really bad and then handled it, which is kind of the DSP way of doing anything, is wait until his bacon is literally on the fucking skillet, the baby backs are already on the grill sizzling, to now do something, because now we're in real trouble. You know what I'm saying? And something that would have cost him maybe a couple of $100 if caught early, now it's going to probably cost him maybe $1,000 if not more afterwards. And then it required him to do all that work because he had to go down there and clean up all that fucking mold. I hope you had a face mask on while you did it, especially with all the snorting that you do, idiot. You don't want to breathe that shit in. Jesus Christ, man. You could tell that he was not prepared to leave home. He clearly wasn't. And then he certainly wasn't in a position to rip some girl away from her family and move her, all the way across country and shit to live with him to take care of him. He made ridiculous mistakes. Just redunculous mistakes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I'll see you guys for the next one whenever that may be. Hopefully sooner than later. It's a thing. Oh boy. And yet again, as you guys know, if you're listening to this, I'm still on hiatus, but I should be back. Hopefully in a relative decent amount of time, maybe, but we'll see. It's only supposed to be like a month, but it could very well be two. We'll have to wait and see. But in any case, though, these should still keep trucking out because that's the reason why I recorded them in advance, because I am a professional. I am not a professional. And that's a thing. Never forget, ladies and gentlemen, just never forget just the ignorance that went into all this bullshit. You know what I mean? The absolute fucking nonsense, that's funny, nonsense, the pig-tard dumb shit that all of this is made up of. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's really just meant to be laughed at. You know what I'm saying? It's all meant to be laughed at. But it's also a lesson to be learned. This really is. This is the stuff that he is certainly a case study on how willfully unprepared some people are going into the real world. Whether because just ignorance just to be ignorance, because maybe parents are way too clingy onto their children. I don't know. There's a bunch of different reasons for what this behavior encloses. But I want you to think about stuff like this when this motherfucker has the nerve to go around and call people children, or call people mentally ill, or do any of that dumb shit. This right here doesn't seem like some tard type behavior. You know what I'm saying? You left your parents' home and you don't even know how to really use tools? You don't know how to fix anything? You don't know how to repair anything? You don't know how to build anything, even in a digital landscape? Something to think about. Alright guys, this is the Gout Report, and this is DSPNEWS 2nd edition, and this is also Hard Snort's Gin and Tonic, that toxic flavor that never waver. Take care of yourselves, guys. Jesus Christ. Later.